What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? It's AC the Engineer back at you with another episode of AC Reviews the World. Now it's Tuesday, July 15th, 6 a.m. Early bird catches the worm, what my mom used to always say. But we got a couple things to talk about. McDonald's stabbings, so some updates on that. We also have some crazy things. Just Molotov cocktails getting thrown into ex-girlfriend's apartment. So that's some crazy stuff. Grand Canyon fires. And just a wide variety of things that we're going to talk about. But first, I want to say that if I ever say anything wrong, please make sure, let's comment. Let's talk about it. I try to do my research, and just like everybody else should do their research. Never go off of just one thing somebody says. Always do your own research. So you can also review the world. So everybody needs to be able to review in the world, and then we can bring it together, talk about it, and have a civilized discussion. That is the main thing. Main thing is we need to be able to have a civilized discussion about these topics. And just so we can all learn from one another. No disrespect. We don't need any kind of disrespect. You listen to what I say, I listen to what you say, and we talk about it. That's the main thing that I like to do. But other than that, the first thing we're going to get into today is the McDonald's stabbing. So we got some updates to that. Getting bond and going through the whole process of that. So we're going to watch that. So let's jump right over into that and get this show started. Let's go.
$25 million. That's the bond set for the woman accused of fatally stabbing her manager at the East Point McDonald's. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taryn Asher.
And I'm Brandon Hudson. The 26-year-old made her first court appearance today, and we learned this isn't the first time investigators say that she stabbed someone. Fox News' Camila Miri has the latest.
26-year-old.
Hold on. You said this is not the first time she stabbed someone? Yeah, she should have been in jail. She should have been in jail a long time ago, but let's keep going.
Of Feni Muhammad in court Friday afternoon, charged with first-degree murder. East Point police say Muhammad fatally stabbed her manager, 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, inside the McDonald's where they both worked on 9 Mile Thursday morning.
Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back."
2 days before the stabbing, Muhammad posted a video on her Instagram, which is public. This is a small portion of that video.
But to get sent home 2 days in a row, man, and I came in on my off day to make up my time, and she still sends me home early, it's not funny. Somebody will have to do something about that. It's not funny.
Yeah, that's premeditated right there. Like, they're going to use all that against her. That is crazy. Now, I don't think most managers, especially fast food, want to send you home early. They're happy for all the help they get. But I don't know how this boss was. But at the end of the day, she is the victim. No matter what she did, she ain't put your hands on you. But I don't think there's no reason. I can't see any reason for you to stab her multiple times for getting sent home early. But yeah, I don't think, especially fast, most managers don't want to send you home early. There's only a couple reasons why they're sending you home early. Either there's too many people working, or you're not following directions and you're not a good worker. Those are only two reasons I can think of. Too many people there, and you're not following directions. Now, if there's anything else you can think of, just let me know. I can't think of any other reasons, but let me know any reasons that you've gotten sent home, and were you upset, and were you upset enough to where you wanted to go up and fight them. I hope you're not upset enough to where you want to stab her like this girl, but just let me know in the comments. Let's keep going.
Investigators say the suspect stabbed Harris several times inside the drive-through portion of the fast food restaurant. A customer, a CPL holder, was in his car and witnessed the crime. Authorities say he shot his gun in the air, attempting to stop the violence. When the suspect ran out of the restaurant, the CPL holder held her at gunpoint until police arrived.
Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside of her vehicle.
Harris, a single mother of 6 and a longtime McDonald's employee, was pronounced deceased at a nearby hospital. Meanwhile, the prosecutor revealing this in court about Muhammad.
The defendant does have a prior instance of at least one that I'm aware that involved a stabbing, similar obviously to the stabbing that occurred in this case, involving a knife.
That prior stabbing occurred in Virginia. Muhammad's attorney arguing
she was in an extremely abusive relationship that was not only mental but physical, that involved alcohol issues, which...
So my first question is there any, well, there's not always going to be signs of abuse. No, that is absolutely wild. But she does have a prior history of stabbing someone. Now, I don't know if her boyfriend really did abuse her or not, but that's all going to play a factor in her when she goes to in front of the jury.
Is where the habitual second stems from and her prior record.
The judge set Muhammad's bond at $25 million cash surety only. She will be back in court on July 23rd.
So remember, bond, I'm assuming everybody knows, bond, they'll set it at $25 million, and you have to come up with 10% of that. So,
for a probable cause hearing. In East Point, Camila Mary, Fox 2 News.
All right, so this next one, it goes through the full arraignment. So we're going to watch this video, 10 minutes long, but the full arraignment of the woman for, Jesus, Mohammed. I think that's her last name. If I'm saying that wrong, please forgive me. But let's go into this.
Detective Showers, please approach for the swear-to. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the information being provided is true and accurate to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief, subject to penalties of perjury?
I do.
Now, if it's a little hard to hear, I don't know if it'll get louder or not. I haven't looked at this before just because I wanted to look at it with y'all. But I'll increase the volume. But let's keep going.
Hand down with regard to the defendant, Afani Muhammad. Please set forth a factual basis for the warrant request.
Yes, Your Honor. 7/10/25, McDonald's employee Afani Muhammad stabbed McDonald's manager Jennifer Harris multiple times with a kitchen knife at the McDonald's restaurant at 179219 Mile. Harris was not armed at the time and died of her injuries. Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be..."
All right, well, what did I say? For not, so there's only two, like I said before, there's only two reasons to why you get sent home early. Either there's too many workers, which is understandable, too many workers, the manager has to make a decision. And then you not performing your work duties, like what she said.
Back. Muhammad was arrested on scene and the knife was recovered. Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside.
Premeditated.
When Muhammad returned to stab Harris, she entered the back entrance with a hooded mask over her face in an attempt to conceal her identity and attempted to flee the scene after the stabbing, but was stopped by an armed customer.
And the requested charges are murder in the first degree, count 2, dangerous weapon, carrying with unlawful intent, and there's a habitual second notice offense. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
The warrant is being signed, and we can proceed to arraignment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Threw away your life. That's all I can say. She threw away her life. If you're not getting enough hours, because that's what she claimed, she wasn't getting enough hours, she's getting cut. Sounds to me like it's time to get another job. That's all it sounds. It sounds to me it's time to get another job.
Calling file number 25354, People versus Afani Badu Muhammad. Counsel appearances for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sean Hagel, on behalf of the people.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Please, this honorable court, may I take time hearing on behalf of Mrs. Muhammad, who does appear via Zoom.
Your name, please, ma'am?
Afeni Muhammad.
Very good. You're here today for arraignment on the charges of murder in the first degree, premeditated, count 2, carrying a weapon with unlawful intent, and a habitual second notice. Mr. Licata, how does your client wish to proceed?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. At this time, my client is asking the court to enter a not guilty plea. This matter set for a probable cause conference at the preliminary exam. I have advised my client of her rights, as well as the charges against her and the potential penalties. We are ready to proceed on those grounds.
Very good. Ma'am, do you understand the nature of the charges against you to your satisfaction after talking to your attorney?
Yes.
Very good. I will go ahead and enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Are you requesting a court-appointed attorney?
Yes.
I will appoint an attorney to represent you. We'll set this matter for a probable cause conference on July 23rd, 2025 at 1 p.m. The preliminary examination will be on July 30th, 2025 at 1 p.m. As to bond, Mr. Licata.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Just briefly, my client is 26 years old, does live in the great city at this point. Your Honor, my client is a high school graduate. In fact, is actually was taking some online classes for college for a physical therapy degree. Your Honor, there are some disturbing facts in this particular matter, but there are facts that haven't been brought out yet, and my client is extremely anxious to have those facts brought to light during the pendency of this case. She was in an extremely abusive relationship that was not only mental but physical, that involved alcohol issues, which is where the habitual second stems from, and her prior record. Your Honor, my client is a helpful person. She's a giving person. She's actually is credited with saving a life because of a 60-year-old who had skin cancer that she may go to the doctor to find out that that's exactly what it was, and that person is doing extremely well right now. I understand the facts that have been laid out today in the warrant, but at this time, Your Honor, we are asking the court to consider a bond in this matter that is appropriate, that my client can meet so that she could meet with her attorneys and prepare her.
Okay, well, I'm glad that he didn't ask for no bond, because that would have been ridiculous. At least to me, that would have been ridiculous. I don't even think you should have asked that. But he said a bond that is reasonable. Now, remember right, Jesus. Yeah, bond that is reasonable.
Thank you. On behalf of the people?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Pursuant to court rule, the court is well within its authority to grant no bond involving any case involving murder. In this case, we are requesting no bond for this defendant. Also provided within the court rules are certain factors for this court to consider when determining whether to grant any bond at all, and in this case, we are requesting no bond as I indicate. First of all, the court can consider whether or not this defendant is a threat to the community. She entered a public building with other individuals, other employees that were present. She produced a weapon that was a knife longer than 3 inches, and she stabbed the victim multiple times, up to possibly as many as 15 times, eventually causing her death. There were other...
Yeah, I can understand why they want no bond. No, I can understand it.
Employees that were present at the time, some of which attempted to help the victim after the stabbing occurred. That alone is enough to show that there is a threat to the community. She then ran from the building to her vehicle, presumably with the intent to flee from the scene. She was stopped by a helpful bystander. You're also able to consider the likelihood of conviction in this case, given the facts as laid out by Detective Showers and the information that the prosecutors have reviewed in order to charge this defendant. There is a very high likelihood of conviction. And then finally, the defendant does have a prior instance of at least one that I'm aware that involved a stabbing, similar obviously to the stabbing that occurred in this case involving a knife.
Now remember what her lawyer said, or I don't know if it's her defense attorney said, that the prior stabbing was because of her boyfriend, abusive boyfriend. Now I don't know how real that is, but that is her right to reveal that information and hopefully get lower bond.
All of those factors, and given the fact that this court does have authority to this case.
Thank you, counsel. The court has reviewed the charges and the circumstances surrounding this case. The defendant is facing various serious charges, including murder in the first degree, which is one of the most serious criminal offenses in our state, carrying penalties up to life without parole. Additionally, carrying a
you end up getting life because you got sent home early. That is your possibility. There's a possibility that you are gonna get life in prison because you got sent home early, got upset, and came back. Now I don't know if she was constantly sending her home early, but it still doesn't matter to me. You can't lose to your emotions like that, to where you do something that ruins the rest of your life. The rest of your life is ruined for murder. First degree murder, premeditated? No.
Dangerous weapon with unlawful intent further underscores defendant's potential threat to public safety. Defendant has a prior criminal record out of Virginia for malicious wounding. It was actually felony malicious wounding that was reduced to unlawful bodily injury concerning a stabbing, and that is what gives rise to the habitual second. And in determining bond, the court must look to the factors outlined in Michigan Court Rule 6.106. Number one, the seriousness of the offense and the danger posed to the community. The charges here involved a violent crime with a weapon, indicating a substantial risk to the public. The court finds there is a significant threat to public safety, and therefore the bond must reflect that risk. Number two, the weight of the evidence against the defendant. While the evidence is not fully before us and the defendant is cloaked with the presumption of innocence, the nature of the charges along with the prior criminal history.
Yes, you are innocent before proven guilty. That is the crux that our society stands on. But she was caught red-handed, stabbing her boss multiple times, and a civilian had to hold her at gunpoint, or a random citizen had to hold her at gunpoint till the police came. I don't see anything besides guilty, but hey.
Suggests that there's substantial evidence against the defendant. Defendant's criminal history. The defendant has a violent criminal past. The history supports the court's concern that the defendant may engage in further violent conduct if she is released. The defendant's ties to the community. While the defendant is relatively young at 26 years of age, there's no indication that she...
26. Possibility of life. That's crazy. She's younger than me. That's crazy.
He has any significant stabilizing ties to the community that would ensure her return for court appearances. Without these ties, the court is concerned about the likelihood of flight. Number 5, defendant's risk of fleeing or failing to appear. Due to the severity of the charges and the habitual offender status, it makes the defendant a high risk for flight. The court finds that this factor weighs heavily in favor of a high bond amount. Substance abuse or mental treatment, although there are no reports at this time suggesting that the defendant suffers from mental health or substance abuse issues that would mitigate the risks posed by defendant's release, the court is, after considering all of these factors, going to be setting bond at $25 million cash surety only with conditions. If the defendant is able to meet those conditions, she must be on a GPS steel cuff tether. She is not to leave the state of Michigan. She is to report her address within 24 hours of, she must report any change of address within 24 hours. There would be stringent.
So bond set at $25 million. So like I said before, you got to have 10%. So $2.5 million. I don't know her situation, but it sounds to me that she's going to have to stay in jail unless somebody puts a couple houses up. But absolutely insane. Now let me know in the comments, have your boss ever sent you home early? And were you upset enough to where you wanted to fight them? And then I'm not even going to assume. I think that we're all civilized people, and I don't even want to assume that you was mad enough to where you wanted to stab them. But let me know in the comments. Tell me, when were you sent home early? What was the situation? Did you deserve to get sent home early? Or was your boss just being a jerk? Just tell me that. That is wild. Now, we're going to move over into, let's see. Okay, El Chapo's son. That is, I wasn't expecting to see this video pop up on my YouTube algorithm, but a little sip of water. El Chapo's son pleads guilty to drug trafficking. So, like father, like son. That's all I can say. Like father, like son. But let's jump over into that. I got two separate videos from two different news networks, so we can get the both sides. But let's jump right into that.
The son of former Mexican drug lord El Chapo pled guilty in a Chicago courtroom today, accepting a plea deal. That means he will work with the feds in exchange for something else. Our Serena Franza was in court today. She joins us now, and this was unexpected for some.
El Chapo's son is working with the feds. Hey, trying to get up make sure he doesn't get out of as much jail time as he can.
It was, Joe, and now federal officials are going to have to use El Chapo's son's testimony as they pursue additional investigations, as they try to continue to bring down this network. Security in the courtroom was incredibly tight. I've never seen this before, but U.S. Marshals actually surrounded Ovidio Guzman Lopez, creating a semicircle around him as he admitted his guilt today.
In a crowded courtroom, wearing an orange jumpsuit and using headphones and an interpreter for translation. One of Joaquin Guzman, El Chapo's sons, Ovidio Guzman Lopez, pled guilty to 4 of the most...
No, I like to pause it so we can see it, but El Chapo's son, El Chapo. There's many songs made about him. Just pled guilty. And it's going to work with the feds. That is,
serious charges against him. Among those charges are drug trafficking conspiracy and engaging in and managing a continuing criminal enterprise, running with one of his 3 brothers, a cartel known as the Chapitos, or Little Chapos, that exported fentanyl to the United States. Those charges...
God. I've said this before in plenty of videos. Anyone serving or dealing fentanyl needs to be in jail. So deadly. That is absolutely crazy. You get what's coming to you.
Would have resulted in a life sentence. His attorney, Jeffrey Lichtman, was asked why his client changed his mind.
You'd have to ask him. That's his decision between he and me, and I'm not going to obviously talk about any kind of privileged conversations.
Ovidio is the first of his brothers to enter a plea deal. He will have to pay $80 million as consequence for his crimes, forfeit some property or other assets to the government, and offer his full cooperation.
So he has to pay $80 million. Pay $80 million, forfeits his property and assets, and a full cooperation with the feds. I hope he got more than $80 million. Dang.
Operation with the feds. On any case, they find his insight valuable. Ovidio may have to share intimate details about his family's role in bringing narcotics across the U.S.-Mexico border. One of his brothers is still facing trial.
Not only his own brother, but other relatives that may or may not be charged already. Many are probably not charged yet. And I think there's a lot of people out there that when they hear about what happened today, they're going to be very careful as to who they talk to and what they do.
Legal analyst Irv Miller explained how there's a condition to his plea arrangement. The government will decide if they believe Ovidio has cooperated enough. Only then would they change their sentence recommendation and ask for something less than life in prison.
Only after the government is satisfied that he's telling the truth and can be beneficial does he become a cooperating witness and a cooperating defendant.
The decision to change his plea feels like a win for some. Michael Gannon is a former assistant special agent in charge for the Federal Drug Enforcement Agency.
No, he's going to have to be in witness protection, especially good witness protection, because somebody's going to come after him. He's going to be telling everything. Sounds like he's telling everything he can to get out of spending life in prison.
Immediately makes me think about the impact in a horrible way that he had on so many families that lost loved ones because of the fentanyl poisoning.
And Joe, the judge in this case reiterated the fact that at the end of all of this, regardless of what he does or does not tell the feds, the ultimate decision on his sentence will be the court's decision.
It feels like a pretty significant step in this case, though.
It does, especially he's the first brother to agree to something like this. And I'm sure there will be a lot more news coming out of this case as we start to hear what he has to say.
Right.
So, NBC also did one. So let's see if we got any more information. Different information. Well, it's pretty much not going to be different, but just a different perspective. Let's go over to
It's been rumored for months, a deal in return for a guilty plea for the son of convicted drug kingpin El Chapo Guzman.
It happened today in a Chicago courtroom. Ovidio Guzman Lopez changed his plea from not guilty to guilty. Our Charlie Wojcicki was in the court.
Yeah, I want to know what made him change. Did he actually start thinking about it and was like, man, I could actually spend life in prison. Let me actually cooperate. What was going through his mind?
When it happened, he's back here now to bring us all the details. Charlie.
Well, the details of this agreement are relatively simple. Guzman Lopez agrees to plead guilty and cooperate with the government in return for the possibility that prosecutors might ask for a reduction in his mandatory life sentence.
Okay, I didn't hear the possibility. Only the possibility of it gets reduced from life. That's a crazy trade. Crazy. I'm going to cooperate, give you all my information for the possibility. They cannot give him any reduction, but the possibility for it to get reduced.
But it's not what's contained in the agreement itself that might be even more important. Wearing a bright orange prison jumpsuit and sporting a new beard, Ovidio Guzman Lopez responded to federal judge Sharon Coleman's questions in Spanish.
Whoever be making these drawings, like with the Diddy case and all that, they are, Jesus. Get the whole picture.
Admitting to being part of an international conspiracy to move mountains of cocaine and other drugs into the United States. His attorney, Jeffrey Lichtman, said there is no guarantee that by cooperating with the government, he'll get a reduced sentence.
It's up to the government. Yeah. Not up to us. It's up to the government to decide to make such a motion, and they either will or they won't.
Ovidio Guzman was arrested in 2023. Last year, his brother, Joaquin, was taken into custody along with Sinaloa cartel co-founder Ismael Elmeo Zambada when a private plane they were riding in landed in El Paso, Texas. Joaquin and Ovidio had come to be known as the Chapitos, a little Chapo.
Bringing fentanyl into the country.
When they took over their father's drug cartel. In May, 17 members of Guzman's family crossed into the United States from Mexico in what was thought to be part of today's plea deal, an allegation Lichtman denies.
The family came over having nothing to do with any agreement. It's not in the agreement. None of them were even under suspicion in Mexico.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has criticized the United States for excluding her country from the plea deal negotiations over the Chapitos, saying U.S. policy toward narco-terrorism has been inconsistent.
The idea that the American government would include the Mexican government in any kind of American legal decision negotiation is absurd.
Ovidio and Joaquin's father, El Chapo Guzman, is serving a life sentence in a maximum security penitentiary in Colorado after being convicted in 2019 on charges including drug trafficking, money laundering, and weapons-related offenses. Judge Coleman has set a status hearing for Ovidio Guzman Lopez for 6 weeks from now. I should say 6 months from now. We could learn more at that hearing about the government sentencing recommendation and whether it will be anything less than the required minimum life sentence.
Interesting with this
minimum life sentence. Oh yeah, I'm not built to be a criminal. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not built to be a criminal. I'm not built to be behind bars. None of that. None of that. Now I know I was in jail one time. I'll tell y'all a little story. One time, that was when I was younger. Right after starting college that summer year, and that was just for reckless driving. Going too fast, stayed in jail for the night, had to sleep on that hot floor or that cold floor, dress out, eat a nasty turkey sandwich, some watered down Gatorade, in the holding cell with 4 other dudes, one dude crying because he about to lose his job. Yeah. I was ready to get up out of there. Came in at 1 a.m. Was out at, I think it was like 9, probably like 10. And I just say I had to call my mama. I was younger, so I had to call my mama. Somebody come pick me up. I didn't have anybody else to call, but not dang. But that's crazy. I wasn't expecting to see El Chapo Jr. pop up on my timeline. Now, what are your thoughts? Leave a comment. Tell me what your thoughts are. A minimum life sentence is crazy. And even if you cooperate with the feds, there's not even a guarantee that they will reduce your sentence. Yeah, I'm not built for it. I'm not built for it at all. All right, now we're going to pivot just a little bit. Now, I seen this popped up, which really threw me and really sad. Just a video of cops rescuing some young kids from a 117-degree car. First thing I gotta say, I don't understand what is going through the parents' mind. Now, they might be overly tired and just forgot the kid was in there. Maybe they didn't think that they would be in there too long. But I know when I have stepped into a hot car, feel like I can't breathe. I can't imagine for a little kid. But let's jump over into that video. It's just a little short video that I found was interesting and wanted to talk about with y'all. But let's jump right into this.
It's a crisis. A Good Samaritan calls 911.
There are 2 children in a car by themselves, small kids crying. The windows are cracked. They're locked in the car.
She stays on the phone and tries to comfort the frightened children.
Hi, honey. It's okay. Hey, you're okay.
When cops get there, they pop open the glass to get in and unlock the car.
Hey, kitties. Hey.
Cobb County Police in Georgia say the kids...
I'm right on it. I love that. He came up, immediately cracking glass. There's no even need to think about it. Got to get the kids out. I can't. And there's good people out there who are not just going to mind their business. Or not, shouldn't say mind their, is not going to look at it and just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to mind my business. No. They see some kids in the car in a hot day, summer day. How you know how hot it is out there today? Or just in general, how it's been hot out there? In the car, not even the window fully down, just cracked, just a tad bit. But let's back that up a tad bit, right when he pulls up.
Open the glass to get in and unlock the car.
Hey, kitties. Hey.
Cobb County Police in Georgia say the kids, ages 1 and 2, were left
in the South too? Oh my God.
Left in the car for over 40 minutes.
Hey.
It's okay, baby. It's okay. Oh, you're hot.
The temperature inside reached a sweltering 117 degrees.
God. Sick. What I wonder what I'll look that up in a second. What is the charge for leaving your kids in the car? I'll look.
It's okay.
The father was arrested and charged with second-degree cruelty to children.
Ooh.
He was released on just over $11,000 bond.
Okay, $11,000 he only had to pay. Okay, not that much, but he had to pay. But that is absolutely crazy.
It's okay, baby. It's okay. Oh, you're hot.
The temperature inside reached a sweltering 117 degrees.
It's okay.
The father was arrested and charged with second-degree cruelty to children. He was released on just over $11,000.
Now, tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me, where's the mother? Instead of the father, where's the mother? Is he taking care of the kids alone? Should he be able to take care of the kids? Was it just a mistake for a one-time mistake? And here's another question. Can there be you just make a mistake, but no matter how the one time it was a mistake, should the kids be taken away, or should you be punished for just a one mistake? Yes, I can answer my own question. There are some mistakes to where I can see you can get punished right away. But that is absolutely crazy. 117 degrees for these little kids. And he's already out, probably back with the kids. Where's the mother? That's my first question. Where's the mother? Yeah, I saw that and I found that. I was like, yeah, I wanted to bring this up and talk about it. You hear about it all the times. Used to hear about it with, especially dogs with pets. People used to break the windows to help the pet get out the car. But children, crazy world we live in. You leave your kids in the car. Now I'm assuming he knew, just because they mentioned that the window was cracked. I'm assuming he knew, or it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't and it was 40 minutes. I don't see where you can run in and out. So where he can be like, oh, I was just running in and out. 40 minutes went by and your kids are still in the car? Absolutely crazy. Now, some people would be like, well, I couldn't bring them in the store with me because they might act up too much. They're always grabbing for candy. There was a Cat Williams when on one of his stand-ups. He talks about, yeah, well, I'm a child. I'm going to grab at candy. But that is absolutely wild to me. Absolutely wild. Yeah, tell me your thoughts. Just a little short little video that I found interesting that I wanted to bring up. But speaking of kids, now this has been going viral. The Burger King worker who was missing out on her kids because she had to work 12-hour shifts at Burger King alone. Now this happened in Columbia, South Carolina. It's going viral lately, so let's jump into that and watch this video and break that down. All right, let's get into it.
Well, right now, a TikTok video is putting the spotlight on a Midlands fast food worker who's been seen running an entire Burger King location in Columbia all by herself. The emotional post sparking conversations online about labor shortages, long hours, and the struggle to make ends meet. Tonight, we hear from the woman in the video, a mother of three, who says she's doing everything she can to keep going, even when it means doing it all by herself.
Now, I will say this. I have never been in, because I worked in one restaurant when I was younger, but it's a restaurant, so I couldn't do everything by myself. But I've been on my own, the only one in my position, to where I'm handling everything for a big restaurant. And yes, it was hectic. Yes, it was awful. They was like, yeah, people called out. But at the end of the day, I had to do the work. I needed to make some money.
I be missing out on my kids' life and I work a lot. So I be having to provide for them and I really don't be having time to spend with them. And it hurts me a lot.
Nakia Hamilton is a single mother of 3 here in Colombia. She works 12 hours plus to provide for her children, even if that means doing it all by herself at this Burger King on Broad River Road.
One of my employees just quit on me and they ain't had nobody else to come in. So I had to work by myself, had to close by myself, had to do the dishes, do prep, do the floor, do front counter, drive-through. Though I end up shutting down drive-through and let people come in because it's too much trying to run and take orders and got to run back. So
Oh yeah, that's completely understandable. You by yourself, drive-through is the only thing we working with. There's no coming in, no sitting down, none of that. No. The drive-through only. That seems more manageable to me. Manageable.
Need to get her some help up in here because she busted her behind. She's doing everything she needs to do to make sure everybody is okay up in here.
In this TikTok video, you can see Hamilton working by herself, and thousands of people on social media had questions.
And then last night I closed again by myself last night. I finally got help today. And she been here since 11 o'clock. She about to close with us at 11. So we just ain't got no employees. Nobody want to work no more.
Still, even after what happened.
That's a good question. No one wants to work nowadays. I have been hearing about that. A lot of people. Well, some people are saying that it's harder to get hired on jobs. So is it too hard to get hired on some of these jobs, or is it no one wants to work? Now there are some jobs that no one wants to do. Yes. Yeah. But let's keep going.
Here that day, Hamilton says she's doing it all for her children and thanks her manager for giving her the job.
I wouldn't have no job because I do have a record and it's hard to find a job with a record. And by grace of God, she gave me a job. So that's the only reason why I stayed for her.
See, she's a strong, good mother. She works hard. Yes, she has a record. So she knows the types of jobs that she has to do because she has a record. And she's grateful that the person who hired her gave her this opportunity to work. So she's not going to quit. She wasn't going to plan on quitting. She's making more hours, but it is hard. But sometimes you got to do the hard work. And you work hard enough for a good amount of time, I believe that good things are bound to happen to you. You work hard long enough and something good to come out to it. Something good will come out of it. But,
That's Clara Faith reporting. Now, we reached out to Burger King to get some clarification about what happened here. A spokesperson did respond to us, sent us a statement. Here's what it says, quote, "At Burger King, it's our policy that all company and franchise-owned restaurants require more than one team member to be working per shift." They go on to say, "We are working with the franchisee of this location to understand what happened and take any..."
So Burger King said there needs to be more than one worker. Now, I remember hearing talk like, you would think that if there's only one worker, someone calls out the big boss. Big boss has to come in, get his hands dirty, he's doing the work. Or the franchise owner has to come in because you can't just leave someone in there by themselves. Especially randoms, you got to handle cleaning the whole restaurant. You got to handle making the food. Got to handle taking the orders, giving the orders out. Then you got to handle prep for the beginning of the day, and then closing out. Working hard for I don't know how much they're making, but I promise you, I don't think it's enough. Overtime, yeah, you got overtime, but that is absolutely wild.
And by grace of God, she gave me a job, so that's the only reason why I stayed for her.
So let's give it up for her. She's doing great. She's working hard for her kids. Yes, it's sad that she had to work in the Burger King all by herself. But hey, she did what she had to do. She can't just leave. She got a family to take care of. She has to provide for her family. Strong single mother. And she's doing what she got to do. So I'm proud she's doing what she got to do. And it sounds like Burger King, the big Burger King corporation, is going to look into the franchise. So it's probably, she's not going to be working alone for, but you never know. Hey, the franchise, they can say all they want to say, that there shouldn't be one person in there, but who's going to enforce it? Maybe she'll make another TikTok if it happens again. But then you have to be worried, what if they fire her? Because she's making see, then she could sue. I don't know. Could she sue if she was making TikToks and about her working alone? Crazy.
And by grace of God, she gave me a job. So that's the only reason why I stayed for her.
That's Clara Faith reporting. Now, we reached out to Burger King to get some clarification about what happened here. A spokesperson did respond to us, sent us a statement. Here's what it says, quote,
It requires more than one team member. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Burger King is actually going to hold up their end and say, oh, they're going to reach out to the franchise owner. Maybe everybody was busy. Maybe even the franchise owner was busy to where it had to be one person. I don't know much to come out of it, but I'm happy she shared her story with us, with the internet. Hey, we can see how strong she is and how hard she's working for her kids, and her kids need to be proud of her. Happy for her. Yes, good morning, everybody in chat. Good morning. But my mom, I didn't have both parents in my life. I saw my dad sometimes, a few times, but my mom worked a lot as well. She worked a lot. She worked from 7 to 7, 12-hour shifts. So yes, there was some days where my mom was working. She got tired. She's at home. But I was always very happy to what my mom, she sacrificed and did for me. So I believe hopefully her kids feel the same way, and they show her love when she comes home, and they're grateful for everything she does, everything that she is doing for them. That is because she's doing it for them, and she's working hard for them. So as long as they're happy about it, as long as hopefully they're grateful, that is my main thing. Because it feels like some of these kids nowadays, I'm not trying to get derailed. Some of these kids nowadays seem like they're just ungrateful for what their parents do for them. Now, yes, some parents don't do much for their kids I hate to say it, but sometimes they don't need to be parents in the first place. But hey, it is. You got to do what you got to do. That's all I can say. You got to do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Now, we're going to pivot some. The Grand Canyon fires. So there's been fires going on with the Grand Canyon. So we're going to jump over right into that. Let me pull that up. So let's jump right in that. Looks like 50 structures was damaged because of the fires. 50 structures. But let's jump right into that.
Tonight, the fury from 2 raging wildfires laying siege to the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
We are all getting evacuated right now.
Park officials confirming the historic Grand Canyon Lodge was consumed by flames, along with park administrative buildings, visitor facilities, and a wastewater treatment plant. The fire at that plant prompting a release of chlorine gas that can prove deadly.
We were starting to get panicked. We didn't want to lose our lives down there.
Jamie Coffin and her friend Amanda Travis among those forced to evacuate from that leak, getting out of the canyon by chopper.
We didn't know how close that would be, and we were trying to hurry and pack.
In total, some 50 to 80 structures now confirmed lost, all destroyed by the so-called Dragon Bravo fire, which quickly scorched at least 5,000 acres, and the larger White Sage fire exploding to tens of thousands of acres after a lightning strike Wednesday. The Grand Canyon hosts the nation's third most popular national park, last year with more than 4.9 million visits. The historic lodge there, constructed nearly 100 years ago, served as a mountain oasis for millions, the only real lodging inside the park on the more remote North Rim, now destroyed by flames.
Now that is crazy. They said dragon breath? What is it? Dragon breath? Hold on, let's back it up a tad bit.
In total, some 50 to 80 structures now confirmed lost, all destroyed by the so-called Dragon Bravo fire, which quickly scorched at least 5,000 acres, and the larger White Sage fire exploding to tens of thousands of acres after a lightning strike Wednesday. The Grand Canyon,
a lightning strike caused all this. So much summer storms, boom. And the Grand Canyon, I always want. See, I'm mad. I've been to Las Vegas twice, but I wasn't able to get anyone to go to the Grand Canyon with me. It's not that far away, and we could have visited.
Most popular national park, last year with more than 4.9 million visits. The historic lodge there, constructed nearly 100 years ago, served as a mountain oasis for millions, the only real lodging inside the park on the more remote North Rim, now destroyed by flames.
Holy.
That is crews scary. Racing to contain out-of-control flames, tearing down a piece of Americana, cutting off access to one of the world's great wonders. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
We thank you. That is wild. That is wild. Now I have one more video about this, so let's jump over right into that.
Having a big impact, but thankfully nobody has been hurt or killed, and everyone who is in.
Let's give it a, let's pray for that. That is the main thing that we are happy about. You can damage structures, yes. It's very sad that the structures was damaged, but no one has lost their life or has been injured. So that is happy. I'm happy about that.
That part of the park has been safely evacuated, we're told, but there is truly a lot of heartbreak from people who have either been to the Grand Canyon or have a personal connection to that historic park tonight. Here's actually a live look from one of the National Parks Service's webcams pointing north towards the North Rim. It's a little hard to see, but kind of that hazy fog that you see in the distance, that is from this fire that started back on July 4th, the Dragon Bravo fire, and is believed to be caused from a lightning strike. Now, the National Park Service says the Dragon Bravo fire activity really intensified last night with 20 to 40 mile-per-hour winds. It's burned an estimated 5,000 acres, but is still 0% contained as of this afternoon. It's also destroyed several structures, including the Grand Canyon Lodge and several historic cabins.
Wow, look at that view from this. Look like the Ring camera. Yeah. Dang. Imagine imagine this was your house, looking at your Ring camera, and you just see fires raging outside your house. Jesus.
Lodge has been a real staple of the North Rim for nearly a century. I spoke with the past president of the Grand Canyon Historical Society, who says the last few days have been devastating. The Grand Canyon and its loss, along with more destruction to the North Rim area, will more than likely have a big impact to the small communities both in and around the Grand Canyon, with the North Rim being closed to visitor access for the rest of this season.
For the very small communities of Kanab, Utah, and Fredonia, Arizona, perhaps even Page, Arizona, it will have an impact because there will be no reason now to come to the Arizona Strip to see the Grand Canyon. There's a lot of tour companies
that's going to be that's going to ruin tourism. That's not ruin it, but it's going to decrease tourism because I'm assuming I've never been to the lodge, but sounds to me that a lot of people look forward going to it. And that was one of the reasons they came to. I mean, that is crazy. You never know what's going to happen, especially with Mother Nature and the chain reaction that can happen just from a lightning strike happening. destroying 50 to 80 structures, between 50 and 80 structures, just destroyed, all from a lightning strike. And the fire that happened because of that. That is absolutely wild.
Go there during the 5 months that the North Rim Lodge was open.
Yep, terrifying.
And that's all going to go away.
And the National Park Service says fire behavior tonight is still very active, driven by these hot temperatures, low humidity, and strong wind gusts. There's around 70 people who are assigned to this firefight tonight. And one thing that added to the challenge last night was the burning of a water treatment plant that resulted in the release of chlorine gas that forced firefighters to evacuate and forced crews to not be able to drop retardant from the air. And
chlorine gas? Released chlorine gas.
This afternoon, saying in a statement she is saddened of the historic Grand Canyon Lodge and her heart goes out to everyone impacted by the Dragon Bravo fire. The governor is also calling for a complete and independent.
I didn't know that they named fires. I didn't know that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I never know they named fires like they name hurricanes and storms. I didn't know that.
Investigation into the management of this fire and the decisions that led to what she is calling a devastating outcome. And we'll continue to follow this developing story with the Dragon Bravo fire and bring you the latest both on air and online. For now,
that is crazy. Now, like I said before, we have to be happy that yes, the structures were damaged, but no one has lost their life. Everybody was able to evacuate safely. No one is injured. See, that's a good question. Now, is it intentional? There's a lot of things happening nowadays to where you have to question, is it intentional? Did someone do it? I know some of the fires that started over on the east side, over where I am. They have been proven that it was intentional. Some of them, people don't care nowadays. But like I said, the main thing we're happy about is that people did not lose their life. Everybody was able to evacuate safely. But we did lose a historic lodging that for years people came to visit the Grand Canyon and went to go see. So most likely, hopefully, they'll be able to rebuild. But that is crazy. That is absolutely wild. Now, the next thing we're gonna get into is this was crazy. This was crazy. A man, so in Chicago, a man threw a Molotov cocktail into the apartment of his ex-girlfriend who found out, or it might be his girlfriend who found out she was talking to the best friend. So let's jump right into that. People are crazy. People are crashing out nowadays and can't handle their emotions. But let's jump right into that story. Let's get it.
Lontre Clark remains behind bars tonight after a Cook County judge determines that he is a danger to the community.
Yes,
investigators say that
I don't see anything wrong with that. Yes, he sounds like a danger to the community to me.
the 23-year-old became enraged and intentionally set fire to his friend's apartment after learning that that friend may have started dating his ex-girlfriend.
Your ex-girlfriend? You try to kill everyone in the apartment because yes, that is a betrayal, because as a guy, we know guy code, you don't date your friend's ex-girlfriends, but that is crazy.
Sticking close together, it's a day-by-day process.
George Smith says his family can finally begin their journey for justice now that the man accused of starting the fatal fire that claimed the lives of his loved ones heads to court. Prosecutors say 23-year-old Lontre Clark was angry that his friend and ex-girlfriend were dating, that he allegedly threw a Molotov cocktail into the Austin neighborhood apartment where they were, sparking a fire that killed 4 people, including Smith's pregnant cousin and her young son.
It's an uphill journey, and the journey has not yet begun. The healing has not yet begun. We're a family that's hurting. We're a family that's sad. We're a family that's in pain.
Calling it a horrific crime and a brazen disregard for life, a Cook County judge showed Clark no mercy. Authorities arrested the 23-year-old Chicago man. And
makes sense to me. Yeah, don't show no mercy. That is crazy. That is crazy. Molotov cocktail in the just throwing it into. Have I seen? I don't think I've reviewed any news that I've been reviewing news talking about Molotov cocktails. And then you end up killing 4 people? Yes. The world is crazier than ever. Yes.
Downstate Springfield on Wednesday. He now faces murder, attempted murder, and aggravated arson charges, along with dozens of additional felony counts. 5-year-old Jason Henry, his mother, 32-year-old Regina Brown Henry, who was 3 months pregnant, Gina's sister, Destiny Brown Henry, and a 76-year-old resident of the building all died.
That is crazy. That is sad. Let's pray for the family who's dealing with this. Let's hope that this criminal, lowlife, gets life in prison. Let's pray for the family. Let's pray for the family, because that is absolutely wild.
Several people were also injured, including Destiny's 4-year-old son, who remains in grave conditions. Prosecutors say Clark allegedly sat the apartment building.
Hold on, did they say that he remains in grave condition? Hold on.
Prosecutors say Clark allegedly all died. Several people were also injured, including Destiny's 4-year-old son, who remains in grave conditions.
Oh my God. I'm assuming that he was burned, because burns are, oh my God, yes, it's horrible, horrible pain. I can't wish that on anyone, especially a child sitting there writhing in pain, your skin falling off. That is, oh my God, that is crazy. That is tragic.
Prosecutors say Clark allegedly set the apartment building located in the 5200 block of West North Avenue on fire during the early morning hours of June 26th, after learning that his ex-girlfriend was dating his friend after seeing a selfie she posted. Authorities say Clark picked up his cousin, and the two went to a gas station where they filled up an antifreeze bottle with gasoline before heading to a convenience store where investigators say the suspect bought black clothing, a face mask, and a lighter. The defendants.
Yeah, he going away for a long time. Cousin too. I'm assuming the cousin got caught, because there ain't no way you can just be a member of that and going with him to do this and not get in trouble. Maybe he didn't know that he was going. I don't know. I don't even want to say. I don't even think. You knew something was up, man. He got his cousin and said, "Nah, let's go get some put some gasoline in an antifreeze bottle, and let's go get some black clothes and let's get to work." That is crazy.
His cousin says they drove to the apartment where he says Clark started the fire and then admitted to him saying, "I just lit the house on fire."
No matter what happens with, the conviction and the arrest, they could never replace the lives that were lost.
Prosecutors say Clark threw out the clothes he was wearing at his.
Yeah. I like to, so we can look at this man. Horrible person. He's an idiot. Let's be honest about it. He's an idiot. Throwing your life away because your ex-girlfriend has moved on. Now, yes, it was with your best friend, so he's not your friend no more. But that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
Grandfather's house. In court, Clark's public defender told the judge that there was no surveillance video of her client committing the crime. She added that although her client has served time in prison for a weapons violation, that he is not violent. Clark does have 2 outstanding warrants for resisting arrest. The court did grant an order of protection for the defendant's ex-girlfriend. Funeral arrangements are still pending for the victims of the fire. Meanwhile, Clark is due back in court July 14th.
Kyrie, a
That
13-year-old.
is wild, everyone. That is wild. We'll get into that next video here in a second. But what are your thoughts, everybody? What are your thoughts? That is crazy. Crashing. Like I said before, it's always been a code, at least among guys. At least that was my thinking, is that we don't talk to our friends' ex-girlfriends. That is just not what we just don't do that. It's just not something we do. She's off limits. At least if you really like her, you'll talk to your friend about it first. That is the least you can do. But no matter what happened, that does not give you the right to throw a Molotov cocktail into an apartment. Doesn't matter. You don't know who you're going to hurt. You don't know anything like that. It is absolutely wild. People throw their lives away by destroying others for things that are, yes, exactly. Throw your lives away for something that's temporary. That is absolutely crazy. Now, I'm going to follow this case, see what he gets charged with, or how they charge him, how much time he gets. Because to me, it sounds like life. I don't see anything less than life. Yeah. Teresa, I think that's how you say your name. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. Common sense is not common anymore. That's she spitting facts. That's all it is. It seems nowadays that what was common sense to when we was growing up, what was instilled in us as a young child, is just not being taught anymore. People are not taught to control their emotions, not taught to throw away your life for something that's already over. It's not like he caught his girlfriend cheating. She was his ex-girlfriend. Crazy. Leave comments. Tell me what you're thinking. And, geez, let's move over to this next one. So, this is a little video. Basically, this next topic we're going to get into, they're trying to discuss ways to combat juvenile crime after a 13-year-old girl was arrested. So, to me, if we're being honest, most things like this, juvenile crime, can come back on the parents. Because I feel like the parents make the greatest impact on guiding a child, on guiding what's right and wrong, distilling morals in them, and teaching them how to live in the world. And hopefully they're teaching them how to be a productive member of the society. But let's get into this short little video. I found it interesting, so I wanted to talk about it with y'all, but let's jump right into it.
Kyrie, a 13-year-old girl arrested by Baltimore police last night after police say they responded to this corner in downtown, specifically that American Wine and Spirits liquor store across the street there on East Baltimore Street, for an armed robbery in progress. It's one of the reasons we spoke with Monsi tonight to see what they're trying to do to keep the youth out of trouble. Surveillance video showing a young girl pulling out a knife inside of a downtown liquor store Friday night.
13? Why is she in the liquor store? What is they doing?
After
Hold on, back that up. I gotta
showing
back
a
that
young
up.
out of trouble. Surveillance video showing a young girl pulling out a knife inside of a downtown liquor store Friday night after Baltimore police say the 13-year-old poured 2 bottles of alcohol into a container inside the establishment. Police arrested the girl and took her to the Juvenile Justice Center. It's among the most recent crimes involving a juvenile in the city.
We know in the summer that we tend to see increases in violence. We've seen a couple high-profile incidents involving our young people in the summer.
Yes, the heat makes you angry. If it's too hot, I can see younger kids letting that get to them because they haven't learned how to fully control their emotions, or maybe haven't been taught how to control their emotions. That might be a better word to say. But yes, the heat makes you more easily pissed off. But that is no excuse for you to do these types of things, at least to me. Now, if you feel differently, I'm assuming you don't, because we're all adults here, and I hope we all understand that you can't let the heat get to you where you're crashing out. Let's use the right word for this: crashing out. They're crashing out because of the heat. The younger people, the YNs, if you know what that word is, that is crazy. That is crazy.
Summer months in years past.
Stephanie Mavrona is the director of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement.
Now, if you're just coming in, basically a 13-year-old was going crazy in a liquor store, pulling out a knife. 13-year-old girl, and they're trying to figure out how to combat crime, how to combat this juvenile crime.
Speaking with 11 News about what the city is offering for juveniles to try and curb the violence while kids are out of school for the summer.
We're proactively having conversations, meeting them where they're at, and where appropriate, connecting them to resources. And then that's, of course, paired with the part of the mayor's strategy that focuses on events. We just had a really successful teen pool party.
And events like the Recreation and Parks Midnight Basketball each week.
So we want to make sure that we're doing our work to proactively engage our young people.
We just told you this week the Maryland Department of Juvenile Services made policy changes when it comes to repeat offenders, including detaining juveniles until their next court appearance if a juvenile is arrested while wearing electronic monitoring, something the Southeast Community Relations Council President Brant Fisher says is a step in the right direction.
Ideally, I think we still want to see the State's Attorney's Office involved in part of that process, and while the juveniles are being held for that period of time, because overall, it helps public safety, which is a component I think we've been lacking for the last couple of years.
When we see young people becoming repeat offenders, that's something that has to make us double down on our work to make sure they're not getting ensnared in the criminal justice system in the first place. And I think
if they're already repeat offenders, aren't they already in the justice system? Shouldn't they?
That's what makes the kind of work that we do on the front end in the prevention space, in the intervention space, so important.
That is a good question. Now, what is going on in the homes? That is a good question. Like I said, a lot of this has to do with the parents. At least that's my feeling. The parents distill the values in the children.
And they do have a list of events going on throughout the summer for the youth. They're over on BeMoreThisSummer.org. We'll have that linked over on WBALTV.com. Live in downtown tonight.
Now, here's a question. I understand people always do. They try to make events so the kids are more active. But when I was in summer, when I was on summer vacation as a younger kid, my first thought was, oh, I ain't got nothing to do, so let's do some crime, or let's go out and vandalize or do what you're gonna. No, I hung out with my friends in the neighborhood and went back home before the streetlights came on because my mom would beat me. Mom would give me a whooping if I didn't. So that was, I knew right from wrong. I didn't need these extra events thrown by the school or thrown by the city or the town to keep me in check, to make sure that my mind is not on committing some kind of crime. I just wasn't committing crime. Was not committing crime. Maybe are we? So basically, let's let the community take care of the kids. Shows the kids. See, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Are kids not getting whooped nowadays? Or is it wrong? I remember a whole big thing where people think it's wrong to. Now, there's a difference between whooping your child and abusing your child. I believe we're all old enough to understand that. You disciplining them because they are doing something that they're not supposed to do or something that they did wrong is totally different to where you're beating on your child because you're angry. That's totally different. Totally different. But is whoopings not a thing no more? Is whoopings not a thing no more? Because I like to, because I talk about this with my friends a lot. Like, we were all whooped as children. We're all going through. Yeah. See, yes, exactly. No, it's called abuse now. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Our children supposed to be unfortunate. Times have definitely changed. Times have definitely changed, everyone. It is. It's a crazy world. Crazy. Now, well, like I said, that was that video. What leave comments? Tell me what are your thoughts? Is there things that, how do we stop juvenile crime? My thinking is it's mostly on the parents. I don't think that the city should be responsible for raising your kids. There's a video of one of my older videos, or not older videos, but from the 4th of July stuff. The police chief was talking about how they was asking, the reporters were asking the police chief, what are we going to do to stop these? Because there was a bunch of teens coming down 4th of July late at night, vandalizing stuff. And the reporter was asking the police chief, what are we going to do about this? What are y'all doing to stop this? They said, we can't do anything else. We have police down here. Where are the parents? It is the parents' responsibility to know where the kids are at all times. He knew where his daughter was at all times. His daughter would never be down there like that because he raised her correctly. But some of the parents just dropping their kids off late at night. It's crazy. Crazy. Oh my God. But we're going to pivot now. We are going to pivot. Next thing we're looking at is, so in Arizona, a hyperbaric chamber. I somewhat know what that is, but at the same time I don't. Hyperbaric chamber, somewhat. But we'll hear about a flash fire kills a physical therapist. So let's jump right over into that and see what that is talking about.
There are new concerns tonight over the safety of some hyperbaric chambers after a physical therapist in Lake Havasu, Arizona, Walter Foxcroft, died this week inside one of his wellness clinic's own chambers, according to the Lake Havasu Fire Department. The devices are sealed enclosures where the pressure can increase 2 to 3 times the normal atmospheric pressure.
Okay, yep. I remember. So a hyperbaric chamber, if you're not aware of it, they might talk about it. But a lot of divers use it. A lot of divers use this when they're come up too fast or they need to be inside a hyperbaric chamber so they don't get like the diver's disease where too much nitrogen builds up and they rise up from the deep because it's all that pressure underwater. So this is what a lot of times they use.
And users can breathe 100% oxygen. The local fire department saying the first arriving crews identified smoke throughout the building and an intact hyperbaric chamber that appeared to have had a flash fire in the chamber with one patient inside. The 43-year-old, a father and husband, was the owner of Havasu Health and Hyperbarics, according to the company's website. The flash fire and circumstances are under investigation. A graduate of the University of Arizona and a Wildcats mascot, Foxcroft's being remembered tonight by Arizona's cheerleading team, which posted on Instagram. Wally was an unforgettable presence on the sidelines, an energetic, charismatic performer known for his signature moonwalk.
Missed that a little
Flash
bit.
fire and circumstances are under investigation. A graduate of the University of Arizona and a Wildcats mascot, Foxcroft's being remembered tonight by Arizona's cheerleading team, which posted on Instagram. Wally was an unforgettable presence on the sidelines, an energetic, charismatic performer known for his signature moonwalk and passion for bringing joy to
Man hitting a moonwalk out there? Oh, Jesus.
Arizona fans. His death marks the second time this year someone has died from a fire in a hyperbaric chamber. The other, a 5-year-old boy from Michigan, killed in January.
So this is the second time it's happened? Someone has died from a flash fire in a hyperbaric chamber? Nah, something's wrong. They should have, I don't know what's happening, but then you got to figure it out. A 5-year-old? Can't imagine.
Undergoing treatment for ADHD and sleep apnea. Neither are currently on the approved FDA list of treatable conditions using hyperbaric chambers. John Peters is the executive director of the Undersea and Hyperbaric Medical Society, which promotes responsible and safe use of hyperbaric medicine.
How tightly regulated is the industry?
It is not tightly, it's not regulated hardly at all. So the regulations really stem around equipment and the envelope that the equipment lives in.
NBC News has reached out to Arizona state health officials who have not yet responded for comment. Hyperbaric chambers have seen a rapid growth in popularity in recent years, famously used by Michael Jackson years ago by the likes of LeBron James.
For athletes, it's kind of a no-brainer if you can kind of have the time and the investment to use it.
Michael Phelps in his record-breaking 2012 Olympics.
Michael sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber to increase his lung capacity.
And Justin Bieber.
I strongly believe in it.
The FDA has cleared hyperbaric oxygen therapy for certain conditions, but Peter says it's a relatively limited scope, like those recovering from radiation therapy or vascular disease.
When you hear Justin Bieber promoting this kind of treatment or athletes, why is that?
So, young, healthy individuals, there's really a lack of evidence as to what effect it will have on a normally functioning individual.
What's left now? A family in grief and countless questions after tragedy struck this town in western Arizona and what regulation might come from it.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news.
Now that is crazy. A 5-year-old was. Let's back that up just a time so we can.
The University of Arizona and a Wildcats mascot. Foxcroft's being remembered tonight by Arizona's cheerleading team, which posted on Instagram. Wally was a performer known for his signature moonwalk and passion for bringing joy to Arizona fans. His death marks the second time this year someone has died from a fire in a hyperbaric chamber. The other, a 5-year-old boy from Michigan, killed in January.
Now, with all these stories, we always got to make sure we keep the family members of anybody who's passed away and the community who is grieving in our prayers. It's crazy. 2 people have died so far in Arizona from hyperbaric chamber. I would have never thought that. Now, this just makes, there's things that we have to look in, there's things that we have to see and review that I would never think of in my wildest dreams. Well, maybe in my dreams, I would think of, but not that it would be reality. Everything down to someone throwing Molotov cocktails in someone's house, to 13-year-old girls, little girls getting arrested, to 5-year-olds dying in hyperbaric chambers. There's a lot of things that I would never think would happen. But we got to, these are some of the things we need to review. And I believe that we should just be reviewing and looking at everything that's happening all over the world. Not just close to where we stay at, but all over the United States. And even all over the world. There's a bunch of things that the more we understand, the more knowledge we have, and the more best way we can move and guide future generations. Just because, like everybody's talking about, it seems like nowadays that future generations need a lot of guidance. Need a lot of guidance. Now, that is it for that video. The next, let's jump over. The next thing we're going into, this is, so a hotel was ordered to pay $40 million to a child traffic victim, the sole survivor. That is crazy. 40 million. I don't know what the hotel did, but let's see. Let's jump right into that so we can. That is crazy to me. Let's jump right into that. Let's see. It's gonna be.
A federal jury Friday found that a Decatur hotel must pay $40 million in damages because they ignored child sex trafficking going on right under their noses. The hotel in question is the...
Oh, what? Wait. What?
Decatur hotel must pay $40 million in damages because they ignored child sex trafficking going on right under their noses. The hotel in question is the United Inn and Suites that's on Memorial Drive. Attorneys in the case say it sends a strong message to hotels everywhere to not turn a blind eye to child sex trafficking. Here's Eric Mock with more.
Well, attorneys who represented this survivor of child sex trafficking here in federal court say this victory comes after a 5-year-long process and legal battle. They tell me it's likely the first verdict of its kind given in the state of Georgia, and they hope it sends a strong message to certain hotels that they can no longer turn a blind eye to this dark trade.
Yeah, what did they mean under their nose? What did they? That is crazy.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Not surprised, says Tyler Washington, to hear that child sex trafficking went on in the United Inn and Suites on Memorial Drive in Decatur. He used to stay here and knows a lot of people who still do. Friday, a federal jury handed down a verdict that the owners of the United Inn and Suites, Northbrook Industries Incorporated, have to pay $40 million in damages to a survivor who was sex trafficked there from 2018 to 2019 when she was just 16.
It was pretty historic yesterday.
Patrick McDonough represented the survivor and says they made the case that hotel staff knew kids were being sex trafficked there and turned a blind eye because they were profiting from it. At trial, attorneys representing Northbrook Industries claimed hotel staff had no idea it was happening there. McDonough said the evidence showed otherwise.
They're going up to the front desk, they're buying condoms, they're selling them at the front desk, condoms literally to children. So it was fairly egregious.
McDonough says at one point his client was sold for sex around 200 times. Hotel staff had no idea we were being sex trafficked there and turned a blind eye because they were profiting from it. At trial, attorneys representing Northbrook Industries claimed hotel staff had no idea it was happening there. McDonough says the evidence showed otherwise.
They're going up to the front desk, they're buying condoms, they're selling them at the front desk, condoms literally to children. So it was fairly
sick people.
Egregious.
McDonough says at one point his client was sold for sex around 200 times in a 40-day period. It's a big win for someone who had to endure such intense trauma within those walls.
And I'm really happy for her, and it's going to change her life. And really, there's nobody I know, more deserving than someone who's been through this.
But more importantly, McDonough says it sends a strong message to hotels everywhere.
Punitive damage is a message and is a statement to the hospitality industry. And what it says is, run one of these hotels, you need to do your due diligence. There's a lot of great people that run great hotels and people do the right thing. It's just there's certain places out there.
Now, yes, she was awarded $40 million, but even with the money, she had to go through something that no one should go through. We need to keep that in mind. That it's going to take a lot of healing. She's going to need to, hopefully she's getting therapy to deal with what she's been going through or what she went through. So they said it took 5 years for this to come to light. So hopefully she's, oh my God, they've been working on this for 5 years. Yeah, I pray that she has at least done some healing. It'll never be the same, but she has to make sure that she has to live her life now. She has to live her life. Yeah. See, why is it not shut down? That is a good question. That is crazy. Just letting them little kids buy condoms at the front. They knew what was happening. They just did not care because they were getting money from it. There are some sick people in the world. Some very sick people in this world who do not care what they do when money is involved and don't care. I wish some criminals, I don't know if maybe some criminal charges should have been brought with this, at least for the hotel. or some of the hotel employees. But that is absolutely wild. Let's finish up this video a little bit. It got left.
And they decide they're going to put profits over people, and in this case, over children.
Now, we reached out to the United Inn & Suites. They told us the owner was not available for comment Saturday. And McDonough says, unfortunately, these types of cases against hotels are actually not uncommon. In fact, he's going to trial later this month on a very similar case. For now, reporting in Atlanta, Eric Mock, Fox 5 News.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, there's more trafficking stuff we got to talk about. So, don't got much longer left live stream because, hey, 8 o'clock is coming around soon and got to get to work. But the next thing we're going to go over, a teen was rescued. Rescued from suspected human traffickers. What is with the world? Trafficking children, trafficking anyone. I don't know. Anyone who sexually traffics children, women, even the freaks who do men. I don't know, but hey, they need to be under the prison. And just leave them there. That's all. As simple as that. Leave them there. But let's jump over right into this video. A teen was rescued from human traffickers.
Up here at 11, a 15-year-old girl who was missing for months is now safe from human traffickers. Thanks to Hillsborough County detectives and their keen eyes. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is live at the sheriff's office tonight. So, Aaron, how did investigators find this girl?
Chris, investigators say they spotted her photo in an adult escort service advertisement, and they say that led them right to her and her traffickers.
Months ago, a 15-year-old in Hillsborough County was reported missing. In late June, Hillsborough detectives found her in a horrific situation, being used as an escort.
That's something that nobody should ever have to go through, let alone.
Oh my God. People are sick, truly sick. Let's back that up a tad bit. Jesus Christ.
That led them right to her and her traffickers.
Months ago, a 15-year-old in Hillsborough County was reported missing. In late June, Hillsborough detectives found her in a horrific situation, being used as an escort.
It's something that nobody should ever have to go through, let alone a child.
We're told detectives regularly monitor adult escort advertisements for suspicious activity. They spotted the missing 15-year-old in one of the ads. Last month, detectives conducted an undercover operation in Lakeland and rescued her. Human trafficking advocates at Redefining Refuge say she's lucky.
These are cases that we deal with every day.
They had her on an ad? They put her picture up on an ad for an escort service. Someone they just kidnapped a few months before. People are truly sick.
We see almost a new case daily.
Authorities say the teenager identified 22-year-old Terrence Whitfield as her trafficker. So was Brittany Armstrong, who investigators say
women doing this to little girls is crazy. I mean, anyone doing this to little girls or little boys this is just what is coming to the world nowadays. Seems like we get farther and farther away from people, away from being humans. Because it's crazy.
Helped post the escort ads. Detectives say Whitfield communicated with buyers, arranging sexual encounters.
Yes, every single day.
Acting as security during the meetings and collecting the proceeds. A survivor of a different case explained how the criminals usually operate.
They work on building relationships with people. They work on
finding out what their vulnerabilities are, what their weaknesses are, and then they exploit those.
This case comes days after USF St. Pete released a study showing just how widespread human trafficking is in Florida. According to the report, there are 200,000 Floridians living as sex slaves and another 500,000 being forced to work. Tampa has the third most ads in the state for prostitutes, signifying demand, we're told. It also...
Oh, what did they just say?
And another 500,000 being forced to work. Tampa has the third most ads in the state for prostitutes, signifying demand, we're told. It also signifies a need for experts who can help the victims.
We're just there to provide services. We're there to ensure that they have what they need in order to proceed and go on.
Now, I will say prostitution is, I think they say it's the oldest profession in the world. One of the oldest professions in the world. Do I agree with it? No, I don't think you should. I don't think you should buy. I'm trying to be PG a little bit. Don't buy no box. It's crazy to me, but it is the oldest profession in the world. Well, I don't know if it'll ever go away. I don't know. Now, people who decide to get into it on their own is totally different than people who are trafficked. But that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
And both Whitfield and Armstrong are facing several charges related to human trafficking and prostitution. They're both in the Polk County Jail tonight. Anyone who believes that they are possibly were a victim or have any information related to this case, they're urged to call the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Chris?
Aaron Mesner live for us tonight. Thank you, Aaron.
Now that is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, the last thing we're going to get into today, the Kentucky shootings. So, Lexington, Kentucky, there was a shooting happening. Going to get into that. It's a crazy world we live in. But I say this all the time, we got to keep living it. Try to do right by ourselves. Pray for others who are doing terrible, who are victims of terrible things. And hopefully let the police catch these terrible people. And some people deserve to be in jail forever. It's just simple as that. Some people deserve to be in jail forever. But let's jump right over into that and finish up this day. Finish up this live stream. Let's jump into this.
Good evening. I'm Larry Smith. Thank you for joining us here at 6 o'clock. 2 people are dead and 2 others are injured following a shooting at a church on Old Richmond Road. It's just one of 2 large crime scenes police responded to late this morning and early.
I don't understand. What happened to churches being a protective place? Why are you shooting up churches? Well, the devil is strong in some of these people. The devil is strong.
This afternoon, police say the same shooter who was later killed by police is responsible for both crimes. And we're joined now by LEX18's Kaylee Randall, who is at the church off Old Richmond Road, and she begins our breaking news team coverage. Kaylee, what can you tell?
Yes, Larry, we're here on scene of a shooting investigation in Lexington that has killed 2 people and injured 2 others here on Old Richmond Road. You can see behind me there is still heavy police presence. We've been watching investigators go in and out of that church for more than 5 hours now. Coroner is still on the scene. It all started this morning on Terminal Drive near the Bluegrass Airport when a state trooper was shot and ended here at Richmond Road Baptist Church. Police say the gunman opened fire at the church, killing 2 women, 72-year-old Beverly Gum and 32-year-old Christina Combs, and injuring 2 men. Police tracked down the suspect and returned fire, killing the shooter. The church where the shooting happened is very close to the Boondocks restaurant, and I spoke with the general manager there about the steps he took to keep his people safe.
At first, we had told all of our staff to don't come near the area, stay home. We'll give you some guidelines as to what to do whenever the shift change happens and if we can reopen. As of now, the police have given us the clear to resume business.
LEX18 witnessed a separate man drive onto the scene with a gun, and police were able to disarm him. We watched police place him into custody. Now, Lexington Police and KSP Critical Response Team are still here on the scene as they continue to investigate, and we're going to make sure to update you guys with more information as we get it. In Lexington, Kaylee Randall, LEX18 News. Back to you, Larry.
Okay, Kaylee. Well, according to Kentucky State Police, this crime spree, as Kaylee mentioned, began near Lexington's Bluegrass Airport when a trooper was shot while making a traffic stop. LEX18's AJ Patel is there now with more on how things played out.
Larry, Terminal Drive, the main road that travelers use to get in and out of the airport, was temporarily sectioned off earlier today as local and state agents meeting a situation that left state trooper shot and with injuries. Now, according to Kentucky State Police, the trooper was making a traffic stop after getting a notification that a car police were trying to find was in the area. So
this is the same person who shot up the church. That is crazy.
Interaction, state police tell us the suspect shot the trooper. We're told the trooper is in the hospital but stable. After the shooting, KSP added that the suspect then carjacked a woman before heading to the church. Now, as far as airport operations go, the Bluegrass Airport says for around 30 minutes, no drivers were allowed to come onto the property. The TSA checkpoint was also shut down, a decision that they say takes coordination from multiple organizations.
When a passenger visits Bluegrass Airport, not only are they, relying on Bluegrass Airport employees, they're relying on TSA employees and airline employees. Those are all the same partners that kind of have to work together to make adjustments and kind of ebb and flow and react to situations similar to this.
Lauren Zimmerman tells me that they were able to open up airport operations again once they figured out the suspect was off the property and not a threat to passengers anymore. Larry,
this is crazy. So he shot a police officer at the airport, then went to the church to kill 2 women and injure 2 other men. Something in people's souls nowadays, I swear. Something in their souls is just not right. I don't know if it's... people always say mental health. That could be a factor, yes. Mental health is a very real problem. But some people just need to be in jail. Need to be in jail.
That's all the information we have from the...
Too radical. Maybe that's too crazy. But it's crazy.
Supposed to be in court tomorrow in Fayette District Court for violating an emergency protective order against a woman. A complaint we saw was filed July 5th, so just a little over a week ago. Now, at this point, we do not know if that domestic violence case has anything to do with today's shooting. Now, Guy House is not only familiar with police, we have actually covered him in the past. Back in 2022, Lexington police charged House after a 5-hour manhunt. He was wanted on several warrants and spotted at the Ramada Inn North on Broadway. As police tried to make contact with him, he took off and ran into a wooded area of I-75 with a firearm. Now, House eventually surrendered to police in that 2022 incident. Now, court records also...
See, I'm convinced that some people just do not like to be part of the civilized community. Some people just don't like to be free. Some people, I don't understand it.
Showed that despite his past record of various probation violations over the years, Fayette Circuit Judge Julie Goodman released him from probation this past January after House met all the terms and conditions set by the court in a 2023 theft by unlawful taking case. We'll continue to look into his background. Back to you, Larry.
Lee, great work there. Thanks so much for the information. We appreciate it. Attorney General Russell Coleman releasing a statement after the shootings. He says, quote, "Today, violence violence invaded the Lord's house. The attack on law enforcement and people of faith in Lexington shocked the entire Commonwealth. We go to houses of worship to gather in fellowship, unite in faith, and reach toward our Creator. In light of this tragedy, we turn to God with our prayers for the injured troopers and the victims' families. The detectives with the Attorney General's Department of Criminal Investigations stand ready to support both agencies with whatever they need in the days ahead.
Attacking a church is just insane to me. Crazy.
End quote. Governor Andy Beshear posting to X, shedding some light on the situation. He says, quote, Kentucky, we are aware of a series of incidents in Lexington around one suspect, including a trooper-involved shooting and an additional shooting at Richmond Road Baptist Church with multiple injuries. The trooper and others are being treated at a nearby hospital. Please pray for everyone affected by these senseless acts of violence, and let's give thanks for the swift response by the Lexington Police Department. End quote. Congressman Andy Barr also posting his condolences on Facebook, saying, quote, praying for the Kentucky State Trooper injured today and all parishioners injured at Richmond responding, end quote. There is still so much.
Now that is, well, I say this all the time. That is crazy. It might just be my word to say that is absolutely crazy. Now, that is it for today's show. Let me know what y'all thought. There's so much drama and hatred and crime going on all over the world. But leave me your thoughts on any of the things we talked about today. If you disagree with any of the things I said, please talk about it. I always want to have a civilized discussion with everyone. That is the main goal for any kind of topic that we're talking about, is to have a civilized discussion. Tell me your points. I will tell you my points. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm happy to say that I am wrong. Because the whole point of being able to talk about and review these things is so we can talk about it. And so we can talk about them together and break them down together. Yep. But like I said, it's almost time for me to start my day at work, working from the house. But we're going to be back again on Friday, 6 a.m. and then Saturday, 8 a.m. So that's going to be my normal schedule, trying to have consistency. So every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, live streams at 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. 8 a.m. on Saturday. But like I said, leave me all your thoughts. And you already know I got to play the outro because, hey, why not? But everybody have a good day. Thank you for watching and talking about, and just let's remember, we gotta review the world. If you find any topics that you found interesting that you want me to look at, please send them over. I'll be breaking down. I'll break down these videos, and then they'll be uploaded throughout the day, next few days. Hey, but that's it for everybody. Peace.